Welcome into the On Paper with Keith, where on paper everything looks like it could work out, but we all know how that happens. I'm part of the Unblocked Podcast Network. Catch us everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, especially, or the X, whatever you want to call it. Like, subscribe, follow, do all that good stuff. I'd like to thank Run and Try on Hillcrest for sponsoring this episode. Go see Aaron for all your footwear, socks, any kind of running equipment you need. Your feet will never feel better. But anyway, let's get right to it with the weekend preview. Internationally, we're going to start with the Rugby World Cup. We are into the quarterfinals. It was exciting last day of the group stages last weekend, but now we're ready to really go. You got Wales playing Argentina, kicking off the first game at 10 o'clock tomorrow, Saturday. Then you got Ireland, New Zealand, England, Fiji, and the host team, France, taking on South Africa. My eyes are going to be on England, Fiji on Sunday morning. Next, you got the soccer, English football, whatever you want to call it, international break. All the players are back home in their countries playing for their national teams. Some are playing in competitive tournaments. Some are playing in friendlies, which doesn't mean anything, which is what the U.S. is doing. The U.S. is playing Germany and Ghana, shockingly, in the States. They never play away. These are games that are just going to pad our bum coaches' record, make him look like he's worth a damn, and try to convince everyone that he's the right guy to lead us forward into the World Cup in 2026. Speaking of the World Cup in 2026, our U23s are also playing this upcoming international break. Keep an eye on them. That is going to be the future. It is a long way till 2026, and there's a lot of kids who are going to be trying to get a spot on there, and some veterans may soon fade out. You never know what injuries are going to happen. People age. Then we'll stick back domestically. Major League Baseball. As I said on Monday in my weekend reactions, wildcard teams were hot. Now, in my opinion, playoff system's fine. That's it. Playoff system's fine. The teams, for the first time ever, 4 top teams, both National League, American League, top 2 in each side, didn't make it to the league championship series. Why? They didn't play. They didn't show up. They didn't hit. They didn't pitch. Nothing you can do about that. System's fine. If you want to complain about it, go right ahead. I don't care. My season ended for the White Sox back in May. So either way, but yeah, for all you whining Braves fans about how you work so hard, sorry, system's fine. So we get into the ALCS. You got the Rangers and the Astros starting on Sunday evening, and then Monday evening, the National League Series with Arizona and Philly. Winner of those two go on to the World Series. We'll get right now into college football. Last week, huge weekend. This week, heading into some buys. Not everyone's playing. But here's what I'm watching. 11 o'clock, Arkansas at Alabama. First time Alabama's had to play a game at 11 o'clock all year. Hopefully they're up for it. They are favored by a lot, but at the same time, we'll see how they react to the morning kickoff. Also at 2 o'clock, Cal at Utah. The Utes got 1 loss on the season. This is a Pac-12 game. They need to win to stay relevant out there and then push for that Pac-12 championship, but they're going to have stiff competition, and I'll get into that in the next game here with Oregon at Washington. Both teams undefeated. Washington's got the best quarterback the Big Ten out of Indiana has ever seen in Michael Penix, and they are putting up huge numbers. Washington is hot as can be. Oregon coming in strong as well, but going on the road to Washington in Seattle. Washington's slight favorite, but at the same time, this is going to be your dominance in the Pac-12. At 2:30, you have Texas A&M going to Tennessee. This is basically to save A&M's season and for Tennessee to stay relevant in the SEC as far as trying to get possibly into some kind of championship game, but they're going to need Georgia to fail, and I don't see that happening. And we'll go on at 6:30, 2 good games to keep an eye on. You got Southern Cal going to South Bend with Notre Dame. Notre Dame, 8th game in a row, no time off. 4th 6:30 primetime game in a row. Last week, the guys came out. It looked like they just woke up from a nap. Hopefully, they got some rest this week and can come out, but their offensive line is starting to show those cracks that I was worried about early in the year. And Southern Cal, well, we just don't know. We know about Lincoln Riley defense. Last week had a tough challenge at Arizona, and we'll see what Caleb Williams can do in South Bend. Also at 6:30, Miami at North Carolina. North Carolina going for the ACC championship game berth, and they need this to stay perfect. Also, Miami is trying to save some ground because they had an awful week last week, as I'm sure you can find the clips or you've heard about it all over the radio. Anyway, NFL, 49ers and Eagles are just looking to stay dominant. They're the two best teams in the league, and that's all you can say about that. Interesting game to keep an eye on. My Bears are hosting the Vikings on the lakefront. This is to stay relevant in the NFC North. Maybe one of these teams can get on a little winning streak. But the big underlying issue here is if Minnesota continues to lose, will Kirk Cousins waive his no trade clause? And possibly there's a lot of rumors going around. He might and jump over to the Jets and see if he can salvage their season. Finally, on the NFL Monday night, the Cowboys are looking to gain some relevance again. They're trying to bounce back. They've had a couple bad losses this season. Their wins are not against the best teams. They're only beating the Jets and the Giants. And their losses are to Arizona and that big blowout in San Francisco last week on Sunday night. So that's what I'm watching this weekend. Stay tuned. Tonight we'll be on Unblocked, and I'll get into more Notre Dame and more MLB playoffs as well with Brian and Danielle should be joining us. But anyway, for the meantime, like, follow, subscribe to us on all the platforms. Thanks again to Run and Try for sponsoring. And if you got questions or want your business or event mentioned on the Unblocked Podcast Network, shoot us an email at unblockedpod@gmail.com. So for Keith, I'll see you tonight on Unblocked.